Panorama. Yes. Bam, we're live.
See if I can boost you up.
Oh, how sweet. Eller's going to help boost up the shorter kids. You don't have to. We'll just look up your nose the whole time.
Here, I'll figure this out.
Are you in your hotel room? No, you're in VRBO.
No, I'm in my hotel room.
Oh. How close is
So
that?
hopefully the internet's okay.
You look good.
Thanks. I feel okay.
Oh, I didn't mean like that. I just meant the internet's good.
Oh, okay.
Not on your personal aesthetic. Well, what do you mean you feel okay? Was something? Were you not doing okay?
Oh, I mean, I feel like you always carry a little baggage in the competition. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Take a few days to get here and shake it out, and it's been a stressful ride out of Canada. So we've been now I don't know, feeling all right.
Yeah, stay down here for a while. Hang out for a few weeks.
We'll see. I think the plan is to actually go on a holiday after this. I'm not going to blow up my spot, but as long as we can get out of here, try not to get sick and get stuck here because we got to be able to travel out. That's the plan.
Is it in the United States?
No.
Wow.
That's why I have to be able to not get sick and travel out.
Yeah. And what do you mean it's a bit of a roller coaster ride? Just like coming to the United States, like they just put on the glove and give you the treatment?
It's not even so much that. It's just been like the last bit of kind of the winter holidays. I spent just like 3 weeks out with my wife's family, which is just like a lot of time to live in someone else's house.
Yes.
And yeah,
oh, wow.
It just like and gyms were closed in Quebec for quite a long time, and then they closed up around Ontario. So I was commuting like 40 minutes to go train. And it was just like, it was a bit tough around then. And then there's just been a lot of the Omicron stuff going on around there, but there's pretty strict limitations to being able to travel out. So if you got sick at all in the last like 2 weeks, you wouldn't be able to make it here even, right? They just wouldn't let you get on a plane. So it would have been we were trying to be just like pretty careful about what we were doing just to make sure that we could actually get here.
I think most of the Canadian athletes, if not all of them, were able to come though.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody else. I saw Sam Cournoyer today, but I haven't.
I saw Alex Caudron.
Yeah, I've seen like kind of through their social media that it looks like they're here, so that's good.
And Adler was already there.
Yeah, he's not competing. I forgot he was actually coming.
Oh,
but he is coming, I think, right? He's going to be here doing something.
Yep, he'll be down here, but he's been in Miami or in Florida already for a while.
Oh yeah, he's been in Florida forever. Yeah.
Dude, what was I going to say about Adler? What did he tell us? It slipped my mind.
It's lies.
What'd you say? No, I think he's pretty honest. No lies. It's good to see you here. We haven't talked to you in months and months and months, and now here you are at Wodapalooza 2022. It's not with all the athletes we've been interviewing. It's not where you come to peak. It's just where you come to work hard and test out some of your weaknesses.
Kind of. It's kind of a good way to put it. It's like it's a really great competition. It's just like exactly outside of the season though. And it's also right after like a major holiday season. So I feel like it's a bit of a tough sell for people to like really batten down the hatches and go hard over the holidays and turn down all the things they want to do. So I think it is very much like that. It's a great competition. There's always fun events. It's a cool atmosphere. I don't think people put there's good prize money. So it's good enough to show up and try your best, but I don't think people like put long-term stock in how successful your year is going to be based on what your Wodapalooza is. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Your vacation afterwards will be better though if you win.
Oh, that's for sure. The last couple of times that's been the case. There's no better way to go on holidays than after a win, for sure. And even like whatever a win is, like if you have a really great competition, like Rogue was kind of like that. I had a good competition and Justin beat me, and I went on holidays afterwards, and I was like, hey, you know what? This holiday feels pretty good.
Yeah,
it's like if you really, really shit your britches, and then the holiday doesn't feel so good.
Like you'll order like when you call if you win like wherever you're going in the Caribbean, you'll order room service and you'll be like, I'll take an extra order of bacon. Like you won't even care that it's $6 for just 2 more slices.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
especially if you win and you've got
Yeah.
the extra 100 grand burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah.
I might pay for the $6 bacon.
I'm gonna get a bowl of berries and some bacon. Sir, you've already ordered 3 breakfasts. I know.
No, for sure. I mean, really, it's nice to just be able to like then turn your brain off and not think about training for a little bit. But yeah, it's fun. It'll be a good competition. I think the field here is actually like very stacked on the men's side, at least, without a doubt. It's going to be and seeing the programming now, I don't know. There's a lot of people who will be good at a couple things and like, maybe take a hit here or there. But so it's going to be a really interesting competition. I think there's going to be lots of like fun fluctuations in the leaderboard and lots of ups and downs.
And honestly, I don't think every athlete has the same mentality that you have or maybe can afford to have. There's a lot of guys in this field that are like doing everything they can in their life to break through and get to the games that are competing here this weekend. I think they're trying to test themselves and check themselves out and say like, how do I stand up against these guys that were at the game 6 months ago? And those guys might be a little bit more focused.
Right, but to say that like they should still be focused on peaking their performance in 3, 4, 5 months from now. I think if they're planning to, I don't want to act like their coach, but if they're planning to hold a peak for 5 months, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. So I think in that regard is where if people are saying it's sort of like, it's not an event that people don't take seriously. It certainly is a big primetime event. It's one where you could, if you're not a games athlete, you could make a splash and become well known by having some success in this field, with no doubt. Based on the people that are here, if you beat some key competitors, you win Wodapalooza, like that makes waves with no doubt. But I just think it is probably, if you are looking to have a successful game season, you don't want to have been like really grinding yourself to dust for the last 2 months into this competition, because we're about to enter the actual competition season, and you can afford to maybe take a break through the open now, given what the new system looks like. But come quarterfinals, we saw some people get cut at quarterfinals because there's just not that many tests, and if you bomb one, you could get axed. And come semifinals, you sure as shit better be sharp.
What did you mean?
Yeah,
What did you mean?
there.
What did you say about the open just now? What did you mean by that? You described the open as like you could rest or something?
I think depending on who you are and what your goals are, the open doesn't have the same kind of value that it used to. So in the past, like say in the regionals era, your success in the open was actually kind of beneficial because it would at least give you a heat advantage at regionals, which is valuable. Yeah. So there was something to compete for in the open. Now there just isn't. Like you take the top 4,000 or whatever based on your region. And if you're any kind of a competitive CrossFitter or have competitive aspirations, like if you're someone who's frankly competing at either in the RX division or in the elite division at Wodapalooza, you should have zero problem hitting that bar. So in that regard, that after this event, until through the open, you probably don't have to do too much. You should be planning for the quarterfinals, which is only a week after the open. So, but that's what you should be thinking about. I think the open now, last year we didn't really know what the system looked like. So I think people approached it slightly differently just because there was a degree of uncertainty. But now that we've had one go through, I think you'll see a lot of, people like Tia's take the open with, they'll just go through it, run through it, and then move on to the next step. And it'll just be kind of like a stepping stone on the way through. I don't think people will really compete for like the prize money in the open, with maybe a few exceptions. But you just have to make sure that you're ready for the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals is where like it's a short enough test. Like I think we had 5 tests last time, and one miss in 5 tests can actually do some harm, and it could knock you out of the season. So you do need to be competitive then. And so I don't know, if you're going to take a break, like now's kind of the time, or after this is like you might get a month of reprieve where you can deload a little bit, work up back up through the open, build up your intensity for another couple weeks, and then attack the quarterfinal. But it's just a different format, and we're still figuring it out. But based on my best analysis from last year, that's probably what we'd see a little more of.
When you look at what the program in Wodapalooza, do you see this as a well-rounded event, a strength-biased event, an endurance event, an event for short people, an event for tall people? Like, what do you see when you look at these workouts? You kind of had like a smile on your face, like you were excited that maybe there was something uncharacteristic that gave more people a chance to, like, more
actually,
some outliers actually to do well.
Yeah, I don't really see any of that. Like, I think that
Okay.
it's actually very well balanced. And in that sense, I actually think I'd be very surprised if we saw athletes win like multiple events. I think a lot of the events cater to certain types of athletes and not others, and we've got a pretty widespread field of strengths and weaknesses. And it's just like, I look at it and it's like I could pick top three that I'd expect to be very competitive in a single workout, and that top three list is not the same for any workout, any two workouts.
Oh
So
man,
I think it's just
I'd
going to
love
be.
to put my top 3 for every event next to yours on paper blind and see what they look like.
Maybe we can do that later. But there's just some cool stuff and things that we've seen, some semblance of in other events. And you look at stuff like the pig flip workout with the weighted GHDs. Like, we had weighted GHDs at Rogue, and we saw the pig flip at the games, and you can maybe extrapolate a little bit of who you think's going to do well. But a lot of the tests are just like, there's not a lot of data points, and yeah, some of them are like just very different from things that we've done. They don't have a lot of traditional CrossFit elements in them. Yeah, I think that there's just like there's no programming that just looks like classic CrossFit to me, really.
Pat, when you see a workout like Echo on Fran, and you know what kind of feeling that's going to elicit, how do you get yourself like pumped up to go there?
I actually did some intervals yesterday of like parts of that workout, which I probably wouldn't have done if I wasn't told explicitly to do it. But it's gonna be really bad. I think it's no surprise to anyone what it's gonna be like. And I think everybody knows that what you'll do is you're gonna get into the round of 15 and you're just gonna want to like get off the floor. And that round of 15 is gonna be like an eternity. So whatever. It's the same for everybody. Everybody's got to do it. If it's gonna hurt that bad, you might as well hope to make it worthwhile and get some points out of it. But
I think
it's
you
gonna
might
suck.
like this one. I came up with this about 5 minutes ago. So Albert Einstein used to say about the theory of relativity that if you spend an hour in the park with a pretty woman, it feels like a minute. And if you spend a minute with your hand on the hot stove, it feels like an hour. But I think that the minute on the hot stove feels like the round of 15 in Fran.
Yeah.
Wow. Did Einstein really say that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Smart guy, huh? Makes sense.
Patrick, you brought up something when you just now you said that you wouldn't have done the workout if you're what I'm guessing is your coach, if Michelle hadn't told you to do it. There was a picture you posted on your Instagram that I don't know what you're doing with this weight, but it looks heavy, and I was surprised to see you fooling around with that heavy weight just 2 days before the event. Will, can you bring that up? It's like I can't tell if you're snatching it or what you're doing with it.
You can't tell if I'm snatching it.
I don't know
what I'm doing with it
Oh,
either. Then
cleaning it. This thing right here.
okay.
Are
Oh,
you clean?
okay. Yeah.
Are you're cleaning this? And how much is this? And why are you doing that with just 2 more days?
I think
It's
that's
nothing for
295. That's the weight from the second bar in the complex that we'll do in the competition.
and there's no 2 days out. It's okay to be fooling around.
I think I did that on Monday.
Okay.
So it was a while ago, but that loading is not like crazy. I wouldn't do it when I hopped off the plane, but it was like good to get a couple touches in. We didn't move up to like the weight of the last bar, but that's the kind of thing you got to do is keep your nervous system primed. Like don't pummel yourself with volume, but keep the intensity high so that your system's ready to do things. That's kind of what we did with the intervals for the thruster workout too. Like I would have not been the first guy to like hop on the Echo bike and do thrusters 2 days before a competition, but it's more about just feeling the intensity and stuff like that. But yeah.
Our sponsor, barbelljobs.com, gave us 3 VIP tickets to the event.
And who gets them?
Yeah, we're gonna let you choose. We made a post on Instagram, and
you're gonna make me choose.
We're gonna ask you to choose. I don't figure any. Will figured it out. So we made a post on Instagram saying like whatever like how that works, like tag a friend and tag and then
Right.
we'll go through and pick it or something.
I get tagged in those kind of things all the time.
Yeah, like by thousands of people you don't even know, right? Like someone's trying to win a pair of shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, tag your friends. It's like Pat Vellner, Matt Fraser. Like,
right. You're like, I'm not that guy's friend. Disqualify him. So, can you help us with that? I don't know how you're gonna do it. I don't know if like,
Well, it's super easy. I have it all on a list, and we just need Pat to choose a favorite number between 1 and 371, which is the number of entries that we got in the day. So, favorite number between 1 and 371.
1 and 371, 256.
256.
Oh man,
that's a.
I'm trying to think. 256.
Okay, I have our winner.
You do.
I'm gonna share their Instagram.
Okay.
As selected by Pat Vellner.
As selected by Pat Vellner. So if you're angry, everyone go tag Pat Vellner in your whatever giveaway you want to win. Go tag
it on.
All right, winner.
The hate fuels me.
Yeah. Here's the winner. 3 VIP tickets for the entire weekend. This is like a $1,200 prize. So it's pretty big. So thank you to Barbell Jobs.
Yes. And
Cindy Martin.
All right,
Martin. Come on down.
Can you scroll down and we see if she's actually, is she in Miami? It needs to be someone who's in Miami, right? Can we see?
Yes, Miami confirmed 4 hours ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, Cindy,
and there we are.
Does Cindy know this comes included with a picture with me?
Yeah.
That's the main prize. So it's a $1,200 prize, and that's $1,100 of that. The VIP tickets are only $100.
You get a picture with Brian, 3 tickets, and you get to change Patrick Vellner's baby's diaper. All for just signing up here. And O'Keefe was nice enough for those of you for Cindy. Congratulations, Cindy. If you need a 4th ticket, O'Keefe said to hit him up. So it looks like there's just.
If you're a leech, go to Cindy's DMs and say, "Hey, tell them to come your 4th."
Yeah, it looks like there's just 3 of them. So, but yeah, that's actually not a bad idea, Will. That is not a bad idea. All right, back to business here. Enough of this nonsense. Thank you, barbelljobs.com.
There you go. Congratulations, Cindy.
256.
Are you writing that down, Brian? You give me the lotto numbers?
I'm gonna research and find out why you picked those numbers.
It was completely random. You'll hurt yourself doing that. Don't waste your time.
Like I think about things like this. I was with Bill Grunler earlier, and he's wearing his CrossFit game shorts from a couple years ago, and they had his athlete number on it, 506. I was like, maybe Pat was 256 one year.
No, I wasn't. I could probably tell you what all my numbers were, but that wasn't one of them.
Matt Souza just made a post in the comments saying I've something like bitches, I'm in Miami, or I've landed, or something like that. And I just want to thank these guys.
Grass-fed beef liver. You know you like it.
Ancestral Jobs. No. Ancestral Jobs. Ancestral Supplements. I got my sponsors confused. It's barbelljobs.com and Ancestral Supplements.
So many sponsors too, you can't keep them separate.
Were you just doing a lipper, Patrick? Were you just doing a lipper?
No.
Like you didn't think we were looking and you were scraping the mirror?
Yeah. We're in Miami, dude.
Pat, did you get a haircut for this competition?
No, Brian, when have I?
Dude.
You've probably asked me that question many times, and I'm sure the answer is always been no.
You turned to the side. The sideburns looked cleaned up. I didn't know.
Did you get a haircut, Brian?
I got a haircut. Yes, I did.
You should have seen me 2 days ago. I looked pretty homely, but yeah, shaved yesterday. So we're cleaning it up a little bit.
I saw Jason Hopper today. He had a little something on his chin, and he made a comment about mine, and I said something about his, and he didn't like it.
I'm impressed. I didn't think he could grow any hair other than on his head.
He can't. That's got to be pasted on.
And him and Noah, I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of the little duster there.
Flavor saver?
Yeah.
This is the first time you will see your colleague Ricky Garrard since 2017.
That's right.
And you had explosive diarrhea, so he stood on the podium for you. You couldn't make it, so he
Yeah, it saved my spot.
saved your spot.
It's keeping it warm.
Have you run into him at registration by any chance?
No, I haven't seen him at all.
As a fan, we've been talking about it a bunch on the show. As a fan, it's going to be exciting. Especially, I mean, as a fan, I hope you guys are like in lanes by each other the whole weekend and can just watch you guys duke it out and just like, let the tension. But when we were talking to Griffin Raleigh, one of the things he was basically saying, hey, one of the things about this sport is that it's just all on you. So you train as hard as you can, and then you kind of know where the chips are going to fall when you get there. You know if there's a guy better than you, but because you can't punch a guy in the throat, you can't trip him. There's no one trying to stop you. It's just you. But he did say that he experienced recently in, I think he was competing in Norway, that he was one of the best dudes in the field, if not the best. And so he could start playing head games with other guys, like dictate the pace, try to draw them out. He could fool around a little bit. And he started playing with that tactic. Is there going to be that between you and Ricky, this emotional piece between the two of you that you think you guys are going to be out on the floor together and it's going to be like, you guys could get swept up and fall out of your lane and just think it's just you and him?
Two things before I answer that.
Okay.
I'm actually very impressed in your pronunciation of Griffin Raleigh, given your history of bastardizing names. So good for you.
I gave Tommy Marquez all the credit because I was watching when I was researching him. Tommy did an interview with him. Well, and what's funny is I called him Griffin Raleigh or something to Brian.
Well,
is that right?
It's an interesting spelling. So that's
if
you tried to do it phonetically, you'd fail miserably.
Yeah. And Brian I'm like, is that right, Brian? He goes, you just do you, Sevon. I'm like, you asshole.
That's because I didn't know.
Oh.
Yeah, that's impressive. And I'm interested that you said that because I believe in Norway when he won that sanctional competition, he won it on the last event. He actually was not in first place until after the last event.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's misremembering his competition a little bit. But
or maybe I'm paraphrasing him incorrectly.
No, I like Griffin. I would just had to mention that. It is true. I mean, when you're in a driver's seat, you compete relaxed. And I think that there's something about competing relaxed, whether or not you were in first place. I think that's his point, is when you feel at ease and relaxed, you can do things you maybe otherwise wouldn't. You're like, it's like that flow state. You're not fighting against yourself. I will say, I mean, look, Ricky or no Ricky, like anybody next to me, I'm always trying to like pay attention to that and use it to whatever way I can. I think you never want to overstep. You want to be a little careful with what you do. And there are workouts this weekend where you have to know what your limitations are, and if you don't, it's going to turn a 6th place finish into a 16th place finish really fast. So I think there has to be a level of care taken. But yeah, I mean, I would not say that I'm an exceptionally emotional competitor, and I think if you've watched me compete for years, you would probably agree. So I don't usually fall into those kind of traps. I don't know how Ricky is. Nobody does. He hasn't competed in 4 years really, other than Dubai. So who knows? If you're the type of competitor, and there's lots in the field who get wrapped up in moments and momentum that can be really beneficial, it can be very detrimental. So I don't know. I'm sure the fans will like to see us be right beside each other. I don't know if I'll care that much. I really think that the Ricky and Vellner thing has been played up and spun out more than it is in reality. I think it's a circumstance thing. I think the whole situation arises because I happen to be the guy who finished behind him. And I think the issue that I take with the whole situation is an issue of cheating. And it's like, hey, and now he's done his time, and that's great. And I think that I ended up somehow in the role of like representing the greater athlete body of people who are like annoyed by a person who cheated in a situation that we hadn't dealt with before, that had happened to a podium performer. And, I just kind of ended up being the guy in that position by happenstance. And I was happy to like, whatever, be that guy. But it's like, I don't have a vendetta out against them. I'm sure that I hope when I see him, he'll come say hi and maybe say something nice to me. I hope also that it's not in front of a bunch of cameras or things like that. I don't really care. I don't really care to do that for the morning chalk up or whatever it is.
Right. I feel not for that.
I would prefer to have a conversation with him as a guy.
Yeah.
And get it and move past it. And that's totally fine with me. And I
I
think
hope
that
I
will
hope
be
someone
the
has a long
ideal
lens on
situation.
you. I hope someone has a long lens on you so
Yeah.
you don't know, but we still get to see it.
But to be honest, I would have preferred to run into him yesterday or today before we were in competition to just like whatever, like have that done. I don't think it's going to be a big distraction for me, but you know, even if it is for him, I don't want it to be distracting for him. I want him to be able to compete as well as he can. Like it just whatever. It is what it is. I know there's a lot of people who seem to be more emotionally invested in it. And at the end of the day, like, do I want to beat him in competition? Yeah, of course I do. But I also want to beat like literally every other guy that's out there. So will it be a little bit sweeter because the last time he beat me by one place? Maybe.
It's
Like I
funny you
won't
say
lie.
you want to beat every other guy out there because I think every guy out there is looking to beat you. Two-time defending champ. Do you come into this with any kind of different feel knowing that target's on you a little bit?
Don't think that just because Brian changed the subject, we're done with that. Go ahead. Well,
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
I would say it's I don't know, it's stressful. Like it's stressful coming into competitions with pressure. And that'll always be the case. I don't think there's any way to get over that. And I think pressure is a privilege to a certain degree. You earn that privilege or that pressure over years of performance, right? It doesn't come from nothing. So the best you can do is learn to manage your stress. And if you typically the people who manage their stress well perform well, try to turn that into something productive. Like use it that nervous energy and put it in the right direction. Um, you know, everybody will say the same thing. Like everything this kind of time today is like when things are like, oh man, you know, we're about to get started tomorrow. You're really jittery, but there's nothing you can do about it. Like you just have all this pent up energy and nowhere to put it. And you know, starting tomorrow, you can do something with it. You can start to control your destiny a little bit, and that's all you got to do is just focus on what those little things are that you can do to move forward, right? And not just be pushing energy in every direction or letting that stress melt you down. Wodapalooza is a bit funny because they're long days. Like it's 2 events a day for us only, so you kind of compete, and then you have 3 or 4 hours sometimes to let it fester, and then you compete again. So um, that can be challenging, like that up and down, or you have a bad performance and it's sort of like now you got to sit on it for like 4 hours before you can do something again. So I don't know, learning those competition skills that just comes with experience. I think just learning how to deal with that stuff goes a long way. I've been good at it in my career, but I'm not immune to the stresses that come with that. So when I walk into a competition like this, like I get it. I know. I walk into Whole Foods and everybody stares at me. Like I understand. Like I know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna try to do it. But there's nothing else to it.
I was noticing. Do you see that I think they announced what 2 workouts we're going to be doing tomorrow? You've seen those?
Yeah. Yep.
And when I look at those 2 workouts, something that really struck me is they're kind of just fitness workouts. Like, you know, as opposed to at the games where a lot of times, many years, you have a swimming workout, a heavy lifting workout, some of these specialty ones that usually at the end of day one, the leaderboard doesn't look that much like it might look at the end of the weekend. This looks like it very well could. You know, like just in 2 events, you might see the top 10. Maybe they'll move around a little bit, but they'll probably do pretty well. Does that, like, you know, sometimes you've had to make your way back up the leaderboard at the games. Do you like that? There's kind of just some like couplets and triplets right off the bat and you get to attack it.
Yeah, it's nice. I like that the first event is longer too. I think you kind of get they're less stressful, frankly. Like the more reps, the more like length in a workout like that, the less costly one single mistake can be. So you know, in general, I think you see the cream rise to the top more consistently in those types of workouts. The second one is going to be still pretty fast, and a miscalculation can cost you a lot, and you may not represent yourself to the best of your ability. That first workout, I think, is just you come in with what you have, and I think there's not a lot standing in the way of people from an execution standpoint to show what their fitness level is. Other than like, you know, you trip a double under here and there maybe, but that will probably happen to everybody at least once. So that I like that. I think it's cool. It's a little bit lower stress and lower pressure coming in, but I actually look at both of those workouts and I think that they're the highest impact workouts of the weekend.
What do you mean by that? Like on your on your body, the most wear and tear on the body?
I think 100 weighted GHDs and the heavy flips and the heavy rope double unders is going to put a lot of tension through the shoulders, a lot of like stress through the back, a lot of like, and then the thruster, the heavy thrusters in chest to bar and bike is like people's legs are going to be super sore the next day. Like I think that sets the stage really well for the weekend, and it makes me look at the weekend a little differently and go, oh, you know, this is going to be, you're going to be already sore and hurting starting on day 2. Like most people, it's going to start to be a war of attrition right after day 1, where it's like who can who can continue to put up performances most like themselves by the time it's Saturday, by the time it's Sunday.
Yeah, and only 2 workouts a day is a little different too. Like you almost feel like you can go a little harder on those. If you got 4 or 5 workouts, it's like but it's only 2. But like you said, they can be almost a trap to set up for the weekend.
Yeah, you got to go. You have to go fast and everything. Like there's lots of downtime. There's lots of whatever. I think that those 2 workouts look to me like the highest impact, like the highest load on the body. And then after that, it's like, it's going to be fitness. Things are hard. There's a lot of, like I said, most of the workouts have like, it's all like CrossFit stuff, but the combinations are different. There's some new stuff, like the box step overs in the front rack is a twist that we haven't done yet. That makes it significantly different and more challenging. And so there's like fun elements in almost every event that we haven't really done or seen before. That I think is it makes it kind of hard to know, and it makes it fun. So I think that starting Thursday off is going to go with a bang, and then I think that evening event of Thursday is going to be. I'd love to watch it. I think it's going to be. It's like that thruster bike workout we did at Rogue, like the kind of workout that you look at and you think about for like 2 days, and you just whip yourself, and you like. I've done it in my head like 4 or 5 times already, and it's hurt bad, and it's not going to hurt any worse when I do it. It's just going to feel exactly like you think it's going to feel, and then it's going to be done. So I would love to watch that workout. I'm not so keen to do it.
If you were watching it, you'd probably watch on the Sevon podcast, right?
Absolutely.
Are you guys broadcasting it? Oh, you guys are doing like commentary, are you?
Probably not
This
me,
is
but Sevon will have some people.
This is the premier place to come and hear shit talking.
Ooh, I don't know. Well, I better not fuck that one up then.
Hey, so here's the thing, Pat, and I think you know this. I think everyone knows this. Every athlete there has a story. Jason Hopper's the kid that won the MAC, went to the games, took 20 something. Now he's with Matt. What's he going to do here? Sarah Sigmund's daughter's was supposed to be the best female athlete in the history of the CrossFit Games. She got injured, a bunch of stumbles. Now she's back after a layoff. There's a story about the Wodapalooza. It was down a year because of pandemic response, and now it's back. And like everything has. But the story of this Wodapalooza for me is you and Ricky coming back together, because it's competition, it's sport, it's competitors. And so not only do we have 2 of the best guys in the world, but we have the former champion, which is Patrick Vellner, and then this guy who they crossed paths at the games, and he bumped Pat out because Pat didn't get that moment on the podium because illegal rule. I don't know if it's illegal is the right word. He broke the rule. I don't know if is it illegal what he did? It's just rule breaking.
I think illegal is very much an appropriate word.
Is it illegal? like is it criminal? Anyway, whatever it is, it's bad. It was bad. It's naughty, and it's against the rules, and it stunk. And now he's back. And so to get you guys in the same place for a comeback is really, really cool. I think what's going to happen is, from what I know you, and I know you better than I know Ricky, but I know Ricky a little bit. Yeah, I think you're going to see him, and you're going to want him to be his best, and you're going to want to beat his best, and it's going to be just water under the bridge, because it's just like, it's different to sit here and talk about it for 4 years versus like there he is standing next to you. All of a sudden, you have a big heart. You just had a kid. You're getting a little soft. You see the human in love and everything, and you're just going to be like, oh, it's just another. Oh, look at Pat got serious. I call him soft. I just think it's going to be, I think you guys are going to have a blast. But it's what makes shit memorable.
That's the stuff there that Pat files away for right before Echo on Fran. Morning Chalk up said, I'm going to retire. Sevon called me soft. Ricky's right there. Let's fucking go.
No, but it's what makes this event memorable. It was like I used the example with O'Keefe that like you never remember the shit that just flushes away, but the shit that when you flush it at 3 a.m. and it back floods and now you're like can't go back to bed and you're cleaning up the floor and you're mopping and you're plunging, you never forget that one. And this is that moment for the fans. It's what's going to make Wodapalooza memorable this year. Especially if it's close, especially if you're nice to him and let him get a few wins on you and make it close, please.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think that people are keen to see that storyline.
Yeah.
I will say that I don't think that storyline deserves as much play as it gets.
Okay.
Because I think that there's frankly a lot of great athletes who are here and have been here for years and aren't getting attention that Ricky gets, and Ricky's getting the attention for the wrong reason.
Oh,
So I've been a little bit annoyed by that. I mean, the little bit that I could be possibly annoyed, but for example, him getting invited to Dubai to me was a bit of a punch in the face to some athletes who have been competing for a long time. He got invited based on a performance 4 years ago when he cheated. And then there's athletes who were at the games physically this year who got passed up for that spot. And that kind of sucks. I think everybody can look at that and see that that sucks.
did you
And
get
what it
invited
made
to
up-
Dubai?
What it made up, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
What it made up for was it was for TV, it was for media, it was for storylines, and that's a huge part. The thing that needs to exist, but I think it's unfortunate when it's not a merit-based system. That sucks. So I feel for that a little bit, and I think that we're talking about it and drumming it up, and it's just like, I don't know. I like, let his performance speak for itself. Like I'm happy he had a good performance at Dubai, but I think that the field here is a little bit different. We'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, I hope the best for him. I hope he continues to compete clean and have a good career. I mean, I think that it's going to be, he has to, like, there's no third chance, I think, is the situation we're in. Right. So, and I honestly, I don't think I'm going to be friends with Ricky. Like I get along with most people. I think the way he behaved throughout that whole thing, we have very different values, and I just don't think he's going to be my buddy. So it's as simple as that. Will be perfectly civil. I'm a nice enough guy. I have no problem getting along with most people, but I'm not going to call him on the weekends to hang out. You know what I mean? Like we're competitors, and that's totally fine. I compete with a lot of people, but he doesn't occupy a lot of space in my head.
Brian, I'm going to bet you right now that $5 someone gave you today that at some point during the competition that Patrick and Ricky do a bro hug.
I'm not taking any bets with you right now. Have you gotten your hands on the flip sled yet, Pat?
Yeah, I used it a little bit today. Played with it a couple times.
They have it out for you?
They were like out and about. The flip slide booth was up, so like we just went and chatted with the people there, and they're like, "Yeah, give it a shot."
You didn't do anything illegal.
Not that I know of.
Like,
no, flip sleds exist. Flip sleds exist. They're out there. You can find them.
Yeah,
but
I've never used one prior to being here though. But it's a little easier to grip than the pig. It's not a not a big difference.
There's actually like a specific place that you can grip. The pig,
there's
you have
handles
to like
basically. Yeah. So, and I think the weight's slightly lighter than the games, 10 pounds lighter, and it's a little shorter, so it flips a little easier, but covers less distance, I guess, per flip.
Pat just beat him up and put him to bed. Beat me up and put me to bed. That would be awesome. I don't know if that's a metaphor for Ricky to beat him up, like win some events and put it. I don't know.
Like I said, it's not going to take up a lot of space in my head.
Go ahead, Brian.
Did you ever consider doing the teams of 3 here?
No, not really. People don't invite me to come hang out with them.
Oh,
because Brent has done the teams of 3 here, a couple of times in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think I don't have the proximity to a lot of athletes that some people do. So I think those things come together when people are like either overseas teams that are like, yeah, we'll get together there and we'll make a team, or I'm like close enough to people that I'm not front of mind as like, oh, we need to like make a full Canada team and bring everybody down from different parts of Canada. Like we're close enough that that's just not really how we think. But I'm like far enough away from people that I'm not training with them every day. So it doesn't like make sense to make a team in the gym and go, right? So I don't know. The team of 3 looks pretty fun and stacked actually, but I don't know. And I think I kind of made my intentions known that I was going to still try to compete individually here. So people probably just didn't bother asking.
I think you have Patrick winning this, don't you, Brian?
I think it would be disrespectful not to.
Fuck respect.
What's your honest opinion?
Nice.
What's your honest opinion?
His credentials are better than anyone's in the field, and there's no reason for me to think that he's not the most likely to win.
Have you heard anyone pick anyone other than Patrick?
Yeah. Like the other athletes all pick themselves.
No, but you know what I mean. You've done the circuit, you've done the tours, the podcast tour. You've been on a lot of prediction podcasts. Is everyone picking Patrick?
I think so.
And Patrick, you made a video. I don't think it was with the Morning Chalk Up, or maybe it was with Wodapalooza, and you say very nonchalantly, "I guess the pressure's on me," but you really aren't feeling any pressure, are you?
Oh, of course I am. I'm
You
like
are.
a duck on a pond, so
Yeah.
quiet up top, but the feet are going mile a minute underneath. You know?
Yeah, I like that.
That's
Really?
It's always like that. Like, I don't think anybody who's telling you they're not stressed or nervous or feeling like, you know, they've got it. Like, we work too fucking hard to show up and just be like, "Ma, whatever happens, happens." Like, no, I invest a lot of time and energy into doing this, and I think to do anything, to care any less than a fucking lot is like disrespectful to yourself. So I think that you get nervous and stressed to do things that you really care about, and that's how I see it. Is like when I feel stressed, I know it's because I still care and I still have a few good years left in me. And
Yeah,
I still need to keep doing it. If I didn't care, I'd retire. I'd fucking just stop doing it because it's too hard. I don't want to get on the Echo bike 5 times a week and kick my ass just to come here and not give a shit.
yeah. That made me happy to see you push back on that like that. That's awesome.
Like, I think, yeah, I like, so I still see it like that. Like, I look at it and I say, yeah, like, for sure, pressure's on me. I think people come in again, like, there's expectation. I have high expectations of myself, and I think that, you know, you don't want to, I don't want to disappoint myself more than anybody else. So I think
Is
that
the
there's
last time you've been out is the games? Is that the last time you've taken your body for a spin? No.
Rogue. I was at Rogue.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And is this the same feeling you had before Rogue and the same feeling you had before the games? Like when the feet
I
underwater?
think there's always a little bit of a feeling, an unknown feeling. Like, you know, check-in's always funny because people just size each other up, right? And I love like going and talking to athletes because I I like to chat with people and play it really light and just like kind of get a feel for where they're at. And I joke around a lot, and you know, I'm a bit self-deprecating, so I think that people kind of don't know what to make of me sometimes. But it's so much of this like everybody sizing each other up. You don't know what people have been doing. It used to be the same, like in the old system, you'd see people like once a year at regionals, and it'd be like, you don't know, there's no touch points in between. You don't know what people have been doing. You don't even know if you're looking at the same guy from last year. So it's like you don't know anything until 3, 2, 1, go, and then like after one or two events, you sort of feel where you're at, and especially when they're more general fitness style events, you kind of get a good representation of like, all right, like what am I working with here? What are these guys working with? But there's so much unknown when you walk into an event. Like I don't know. When I got here, we didn't know most of the events. People are walking around. Like we saw some of them at Rogue, but Rogue was an invitational with very few people. Like a lot of people have been putting in off-season work. Like you just don't know what you're walking into. So, and at the same time, like I've maybe been seen more recently, but people don't know what I'm coming with either. Like I could have been slamming cake and turkey all fucking last 3 months. Like nobody knows. So who knows? Maybe I'm going to be a fat slob, and like no one has a clue, right? And it's hard to know until until the events are done. And so I think that provides an element of like stress and surprise. And so it's always, I think it's hilarious and fun to just watch people dance around each other and like do this awkward high school dance as everybody sees each other for the first time in months, and it's super funny.
You are 31 years old.
Yes, sir.
And Tim Paulson's 31. There's some other guys. There's Griffin Raleigh is 29. Tyler Christopher.
I think Scott jumped on that grenade for me when he signed up last minute, so he's the oldest guy here now.
Oh no! There's Jason Smith's here.
Oh, Jason Smith's here. I forgot he
didn't.
Here.
No, he didn't make it.
He didn't make it. Okay, I saw him.
He was supposed to come. He was supposed to.
Oh, that's too bad. I like Jason a lot.
But
so
there's
Scott saved you.
There's a dude here.
Scott got it.
There's a dude here who's 19.
James Sprague, right?
Yeah, and
Dallin, it might be also, or he's 20 now.
He's 20, and also Benoit Boulanger is probably 20. Those are some of the youngest guys.
Are you Canadian?
Yeah, Caroline Lambre coaches him.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a Canadian name. That sounds like a. Quebec
when
boy.
you see these guys, so the only time you start to, you don't realize you're tall until you're around people who are short. You don't realize you're old until you're around people who are young. Like when you see these guys, is it like, oh shit? Like,
You know what's funny is I
like,
met James like years ago at Granite Games. I want to say like 2017. And he was like, he had done his first, maybe first or second year in like the teenage division, like the 14, 15-year-old division, that year at the games, and like talked to him a little bit. Super nice kid. And he like is the exact same now. He's a golden retriever. He's awesome kid. So I actually ran into him today, and he's super nice, always says hi, like just so interested in everything everybody's doing, like an absolute salt of the earth dude. But
We
it's
had him
funny
on
to
here.
see him now, because
Something
now
got
he's like
involved.
6'2". He's a big boy. Like he's a unit. And so I see him now, and like you never see yourself as changing. I wonder what looks at me, what he thinks. Like he saw me like 4 or 5 years ago, and he's like, "Fuck, this guy's in his prime." And then now he's like looking at me like got a few more wrinkles and a few more miles on me.
he expects
But
you to have an eye patch now.
yeah. So
And a wooden
it's
leg.
funny because that like I saw him, like I met him at like an age where he's changed significantly, right? But I feel like I've changed marginally in that time. So
I mean, you really are like a salty pirate compared to him.
oh yeah.
I mean, like we had him on the show, and it's like it's a total. I mean, you're totally different. He's like a new pair of shoes, and you're like that's where an alligator bit me in Florida. This is where a bear attacked me in Alaska. I mean, it's like you have all the marks.
No, it's funny. That's fine though, man. That's a life well lived. I don't see that as a
no
slowing me down.
It's not a dig, but it's got to be kind of weird. It's got. I mean, like.
I like it, man. You show up the next year with a couple more scars, a couple more stories, and they're like, "Holy,
yeah,
here he comes again." So anyway, I think it's fun.
Yeah. Wait, what's this? Brian, I will make a $100 bet to say that Ricky will not podium at 2-1 odds. I will directly donate my earnings to Sevon and Josh podcast. Then why that podcast?
Dylan Val, no bets tonight for me. Too delirious.
Although once the event starts, let's start with the CrossFit Games first off. Once the event starts at the CrossFit Games, do the nerves subside?
Yes.
And at Rogue, do they subside?
Yeah.
And so,
which is fun because I had significantly different first events at both of those competitions. It really is like it's a product of just like being able to do something. I think that having all the energy and nowhere to put it is tough. It makes people jittery. It stresses you out. You think of all the possibilities, but like once there's just like there's only one route. Like you go in and you do whatever you can do. It's sort of like there's a freedom in that where you're like, okay, I know what I have to do and I just have to try to do it. But when there's nothing you can do, like I mean, I've seen it happen to people even at like the games where you have a really bad event and then there's the day off in between. And then you have like an entire day to let that one bad event like sit in your head. And it's like, you really want nothing more than to just do another workout now. And like, that's hard to like, at this point, everybody has that. You're like, we know, okay, there's 9 events coming at us. And I just want to do something. I want to bite off a chunk now, but it's hard when you can't, and you got to be able to like put that down and still be able to sleep and do other things. So, and yeah, like even though like in the games, I come next to last and won, and I still feel like, oh, pressure's off for different reasons, like nowhere to go but up from here. And then at Rogue, like performing really well in the first event, being like, cool, like I'm exactly where I should be. Like I think my fitness level is good, and this competition, I should be all right. Like I think there's just those unanswered questions before you get into the ring, and then once you even do one event, you sort of answer some of those questions.
Hey, have you been swimming like it's your job, like you're a fish?
I was up until like 3 weeks ago, but a bunch of the pools closed in Canada, so I couldn't really swim for the last 3 weeks or so.
Griffin Raleigh, he was sounding like Matt Fraser. He's like, I'm like, do you have a coach? He goes, no. He goes, I just train my weaknesses. I go, really? He goes, I really just train my weaknesses. I just keep going after my weaknesses just over and over and over. And you had to have looked at the games and been like, okay, if I would have taken 22 places better in the swim, shit, I'd be CrossFit Games champion or whatever it is, right? Like, you know what that is, right?
Yeah, sure.
How many places was it, Brian?
Oh, I don't know what it was. I actually haven't done that.
But oh, okay.
I also didn't bother to do it because ultimately I didn't think that's why he lost.
Why would you say he lost?
I had a bad Friday afternoon.
6, 7, 8, basically. And then when it mattered most, Justin didn't make a mistake.
Yep.
But I'm just talking about just specifically the things that Pat had control of.
I mean, I can
forget about
Justin. A fair amount, but it's just like, I don't know. You can't control the field either, right? Like, if I swim every day and then everybody else is just a little better at swimming, like, you still could take a 30th place, and it's not because you haven't improved drastically. So there is like more to it than that. And yeah, I swim a lot now. I'm swimming like 2 times a week at least. Currently, well before pools were closed, that's like what my regular schedule is now, 2 to 3 times a week. But it's good. Like, it's improving lots, but sometimes it just depends on style of event, and I don't know. I don't let it dominate my life, like, to the point where, and it also it's an interesting weakness in the sense that it's actually harder to work on your swimming than it is on like a lot of other weaknesses. Like,
why is that?
It's very technical. You need eyes on, you need a coach. It's more of a process. You got to like go to the pool, get wet, go do whatever. It's like, it's a much bigger, like, longer commitment.
And just getting on the assault runner.
It's been harder to like get on the right get the right coach and find the times that work with them and let it mesh into your schedule. So I've got a good system now when I'm home. So it should be good. I think it'll pay off lots this year. So we're chipping away, but it's not an overnight fix.
Do you remember, have you ever gone to an event and there's an event within the event that just that totally catches you off guard, that's like, and has that happened in recent times? Does that just happen to you once as a CrossFitter and you're like, that will fucking never happen to me again? Like that swim event, it didn't catch you off. I'm guessing from listening to you talk now, it didn't catch you off guard. You didn't finish it and be like, oh my God, I can't even believe I finished. I mean, like the kind of shit like you used to see in the 2009 games. You know what I mean? Like people passing out and falling down and like people were caught off guard, unprepared. Do you ever remember going to an event and being unprepared and being like, oh shit, I didn't know they were going to throw rocks at us?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
I don't think so. I think that it's just varying degrees of like, oh, this is going to be kind of sucky. I didn't think that they would do this, but not like I won't be able to do it type thing. I don't know. I have a pretty versatile skill set, at least. So skills wise, I don't think I've ever run into a wall like that. But other than that, like, I don't know, you can manage things. Like, nobody ever thought we'd probably do that marathon row, but like, you can sit on the rower and pull. Like, you can do it, and it's just going to kind of suck for a little longer. But I don't think I've ever had anything that really, really like stopped me in my tracks.
What year was that marathon row?
18.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first games?
Individual, 16.
You were on a team before then?
Yeah, the year before I was on a team.
Who was on your team?
You wouldn't know any of them.
No, Brian?
It was the last year they did teams of 6 as well. So it was like be 5 people.
Do you know them, Brian, off the top of your head?
No, but I'm curious if he says their names, if I know any of their names.
The women were Emmanuelle Blais, Alexandra Bergeron, Raquel Rodriguez. The men were myself, Martin Roy, and Yves Tourville.
Martin Roy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know those people, no.
Where did you find a Rodriguez that far north?
She lives in Quebec. She's French. They're all super French.
Oh, but let me tell you something. No one Rodriguez isn't French.
All right.
You may be smarter than me, but Rodriguez is not French. That's south of San Diego.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, that was like my first kind of year of being focused on competitive CrossFit.
Damn, dude, you've been around for a long time.
That was when his max back, so I was like 305 pounds.
Although that year's team was really good because it was like I was definitely, after the 2014 regionals, I did individual and I got absolutely buried at anything with a barbell or weight. But my gymnastics background carried me to some strong finishes. And then I spent a year training for team stuff, which at the time team was a lot more like interval style, a lot of power output, a lot of like, that was kind of back when you could sort of have specialists. and you'd have people kind of pop in and out. So you sort of go in, do some reps really fast, lift some heavy loads, get out. And so I spent a year just like working a lot on strength and power output, which was what I needed. So that was like, as far as a development process, that was actually a great move, and paid off a lot for my individual career. And then when I went back individual, it was easy.
We had Samuel on the show, Cornwall.
Yep.
And he made a pretty big move this year. And he spent 8 weeks and dropped 16?
15, 16 pounds, yeah.
Yeah, 15, 16 pounds. See, it's a lot. I mean, he's still a big guy. He's still over 200 pounds. I think I want to say he went from 223 to
216 to 200, basically.
Okay. Any big changes for you? Anything crazy like that?
I'll probably put on 5 pounds.
No kidding.
Not muscle though.
From that cake.
Just holidays. I'll try to lose it. I'll lose it this weekend competing.
Will, let's see his Instagram again. I want to see if there's any pictures where we can see that 5 pounds. What do you weigh right now, Patrick?
Like 200.
Oh, okay. And what do you show up to the games at?
Usually like 195-ish.
No kidding, man. You look bigger than that. Is that last year Wodapalooza? 2 years ago, I mean?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, okay.
That's 2019 actually.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few people that have been losing weight this year.
Oh yeah. Click that one. Click that one. Look, he looks like he put on 30 pounds in that one with the black shirt on. Yeah, click that one. Oh yeah, that's a good shirt for you.
Good hairstyle too. A little mohawk.
Who made this for you?
One of my buddies on the island.
Oh, it's cool. Okay, what were you saying? Sorry, before we were talking about weight loss, you're gonna.
I was just saying there's quite a few athletes this year that actually have seems like dropped a bunch of weight. I'm not sure what the deal with the trend is.
Oh, Noah also, right?
Noah dropped like an insane amount of weight.
And is he competing at that lighter weight?
I'm not sure if he's rebounded at all. He's here, I think. Because he's doing a team with Chandler and Travis, I think.
Yeah.
They're the team of 3. They'll be great in the team of 3. But yeah, because he went from like 205 to like 185 or something in like 4 weeks or something like that.
Oh, was that fast?
It was maybe not that fast. Might have been like 5. It was pretty fast. I remember seeing him post that he was going to try to lose this weight, and then seeing him post that he had lost the weight and being like, "Wait a minute, how?" And so
yeah, I was a little curious about that because like
fast.
I usually wouldn't recommend anyone doing that, but
I don't know. I mean, whatever. It depends I don't know what your goals are anymore, right? Like it depends what you're trying to do. But
hey, when you're pushing, do you have any idea how many calories you eat a day, Patrick? Like like
probably
during
like 5,000 roughly.
When you're training, when the training's really up.
Yeah, if training's really high, maybe a little more, but up towards 6,000 maybe at peak, and then anywhere from like 4,000 to 6,000 if it like depends on what I'm doing.
When's the last time?
Say it's 5,000. How many of them are you drinking? The calories.
I'd try not to do a lot, but probably 1,000, 1.5.
When's the last time you weighed 165?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, long time ago. High school.
When did you get your driver's license? When you were 16?
Yeah.
And do you remember what the weight was on there?
No, I don't. I don't know. I bet you I probably weighed like 170.
Oh,
even when I was like competing in gymnastics. Like,
so you weren't okay. You weren't a pinner.
No, I've never been small like that.
All right.
Not really.
We've been talking to a couple guys. That's another thing. Griffin Raleigh told us at 15 years old, he was 5 feet tall and 115 pounds.
Well, 5 feet tall though, so that means he just like hadn't hit puberty yet.
Yeah, just tiny. But he also had something weird, like a 400-pound back squat or something.
No way.
Yes. Ask him about
I kind of believe it based on his track record, but that's hilarious.
When he played football, he said he back squatted 600 for 12. And I go, "What's your max back squat?" And he goes, "I never tested it. I did 600 for 12, so my max is 600 and the reps are 12."
That. That's why I'm like, I'm glad I'm fit because like I could never compete with like that kind of strength, you know.
I mean, that was a long time ago. He says he's
a lifetime to build that.
He says he's
You know who
weak
else
now.
does that? You know Paul Tremblay?
Yeah.
He's like that. Like he said, he's never failed a back squat. He just like whatever he puts on the bar, he'll just do, and then
Oh my God.
he doesn't ever squat his own percentages anymore because he's like, yeah, it just like ends up hurting my joints after like a week. So he just whatever. If you walk into the gym and you're squatting, he'll squat whatever you're squatting, and then he'll just like that's it. But he'll go in. He doesn't even like really train to compete anymore. The other day they did that like move, train, compete. CrossFit ran some small competition, just online, and he cleaned like 385 with like hasn't done like any weightlifting in like months. He's a freak. Like some people just have it. I don't know, and it doesn't make sense to me. It defies logic. Like I don't get it. But whatever. I can do burpees for longer than he can.
What workout are the burpees in?
Oh, Bayside Chipper. I think it's gonna be event 4, Friday night probably.
Box jumps, the double kettlebell front rack, rope climbs in the middle, and then burpee box jump over and kettlebell deadlifts to finish.
I wonder if you're going to be a commentator in the sport when you're done. You were faster than Brian on that. There'll always be space for you on the Step On
I pay
podcast, just so you know.
I hope I know it. I got to do it in like a day here. But yeah,
Patrick,
I did a little run through of that one. It's fast.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that it was a 10-minute cap, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's just because they're all twice as good as me.
It's quick. You got to move pretty quick. It's
Patrick,
like
go ahead, sorry.
But it's yeah, it'll burn people up pretty good, I think. Maybe get somebody who really goes hard and falls from the top of those ropes.
See, that's the kind of stuff the fans want to see. The person doesn't get hurt. We don't want them to get hurt. Just a little fall, a big fall.
We need no descent standard. Just let us fly from the rafters.
Yes.
Somebody will do it. Someone will do it.
Do you know do you know the schedule yet? Like do you know where you're supposed to be every minute between now and Sunday?
No, they're releasing it pretty slow. Like we got an updated schedule for tomorrow just like an hour or so ago, a couple hours ago, and I actually just like 30 seconds ago got an email that has our briefing time for tomorrow morning. So we'll probably just we'll get briefed tomorrow on tomorrow's events, and then they'll give us our heat times after that, and then we'll just kind of get to run through that day. They might have a brief at the end of the day. Likely they're just because the elite teams individuals don't start until like noon every day. Probably we'll just have a morning briefing every day. So when we leave the site at the end of the day, they'll say, hey, call time tomorrow is 10 a.m. Show up for your briefing. Then you'll get the whole next day's stuff. So they'll just hit you one day at a time. I don't think things are subject to change. I feel like if you give everybody the schedule through till Sunday, it's just going to get updated 100 times and you're going to have so many emails. So I think they're just going to give us one day at a time and we'll work through it like that.
That's what O'Keefe told us. I mean, I'm just chomping at the bit to know the times so I can just start scheduling when I'm going to be watching and what we're going to be doing. So I was hoping like you had something more detailed and you could send it to me.
I don't know. I could check that email right now, but I won't.
You're a good dude. How far is your hotel room from where you go to get your briefings and lift weights and collect checks?
Not super far. We'll walk there in like 5 to 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes.
And you will do that every day? You'll walk? That doesn't take anything off?
Probably walk there. I usually don't spend a lot of time outside in the heat if I can help it. So I'll probably walk to the briefing. Then depending on who starts, men or women, I'll probably just go back to the hotel, sit in the AC for a couple hours, have some lunch, go warm up some sled flips, and then after we have that event is going to be really long. I think it's like a 3-hour window for the men and women to do that event. So if you go, like if the men go first, you've got a long break until you have to do that Fran workout. So same, like I would just go back and chill, like go sit in the hotel and get out of the heat, eat some food, chill, hang with the baby.
Have they talked about Ricky yet? That is so rude. I would not bring up Ricky. This is Pat's competition time, and I do not want to fill his head with drama and nonsense. Pat, you just stay focused. And these people, everyone just wants drama. It's a shame to be human.
People love it, man. Of course they do. That's all you want.
I'm ashamed. Yeah. in the beginning
Like,
of the podcast.
I'm gonna walk up and slap him as soon as I see him. How could you?
Hey, someone suggested that you have a shirt with an arrow pointed this way, and above it says "test him," and then you just stand next to him.
Hey, I'm quite sure that they're testing him. I'm sure that's not a problem. I'm sure he's doing what he needs to do now.
CrossFit started releasing that the negative tests, and he was on one of them. Do you like that they're doing that?
Yeah, although I gotta tell you, maybe he'll hate me for saying this, but it is the most stressful fucking phone call you'll ever get, because in order for them to release your negative test, they need your permission to do it. So they basically, like Curtis Bowler, who is the head of the drug testing for CrossFit, will just cold call you, and like it's happened twice to me now. Like after
hello, Patrick, this is Curtis.
And hey, if you've ever met Curtis,
yeah,
he doesn't like. You wouldn't know it's a happy call. You pick up the phone and like, we talk to Curtis sometimes with our athlete association, and like, so I have a couple different touch points. Like, he could be calling me for anything, and I'm like, Curtis Bowler, kind of weird. You pick up the phone and it's like this. He's talking to you like your family's just died, and you're like, holy shit. And he like lets it linger for like 30, 40 seconds.
He's doing it on purpose. What a great job to have.
You're like, what are you doing?
I have your results here.
He says, hey, yeah, so yeah, all your tests were negative, so we just wanted to know if we can publish them. And I'm like, oh my God, like, there's no, like, it's so funny because, like, you've been doing the same things that you're doing before the games. Like, nothing's really changed, but there's nothing that'll, like, get in your head that, like, you take a test and you're like, I don't know, it just makes you, like, second guess, like, every, like, piece of food you ate or, like, anything. And it's, like, it doesn't really feel good until you get confirmation that you're like, oh, no, you're good. And you're like, phew, I thought so, but nice to know. And so
I remember taking a venereal disease.
Holds you on the line. Yeah, exactly. Right. You get the test and you're like, hey.
I'm like, I'm a virgin and I'm taking a venereal disease test and I'm still scared. I'm like, what the fuck am I scared about?
But yeah, good example. But yeah, he just lets you hang there and fucking tortures you. It's so bad. And then he's like, oh yeah. And then he's your buddy like right afterwards. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Every time I'm like, dude, you gotta stop doing that, because it just. Like, I was like driving last time when he called me. It was like speakerphone. Michelle's in the car, and she listened to that call. And then when I hung up, she's like, "That was cruel. Like, that was just like really mean." I was like, "Man, I can't like." Yeah. So they have to ask to publish the test. So I mean, I think probably around every major competition, they're doing one a little bit before or after, as well as the competition testing. Like, we had a handful of us got tested by Drug Free Sport for CrossFit during Rogue, and then we also got tested by Rogue. Same thing with the games, same thing. Like, they're doing more testing. Like, I've been getting tested at more frequency than ever before. So it's good. I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it and they're publishing it. It's more transparency. So I think it's sweet. So I'm sure he's been doing good.
These are my preferred supplements.
What is it? I can't even see it.
It's just desiccated liver.
Delicious.
Yes. Let's take a moment of silence.
Grass-fed beef liver. You know you like it.
Bills paid. What do you guys see when I do that? Does your screen go black, Vellner?
It shows the ad.
Oh, it does.
Tap percent. It shows the little thing drop down, and then it says whatever beef liver.
Beef. Oh, but Brian can't see it.
Sound.
I just get a black screen that says your mic is muted while the video plays.
Yeah, mine says at the top too, but I see the ad.
I don't even see it.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, it's not an ad. How dare you? How dare you?
It's fast. It's basically the same as when you just held it up to the camera.
Yeah. Hey, and that's Will's voice. Will just made that. This is Will. Yeah.
I didn't hear it. Mine is muted. I'll turn the sound on next time.
It's very sexy. All right, Patrick. You know the routine. We bug you throughout the week. You don't respond. No feelings are hurt, but we have to bug you and send you text anyway. Maybe we catch you once. If we're lucky, you'll be downstairs eating wings or something, and you won't want to be alone.
Probably. I'll have a couple beers, probably.
Yeah, during competition.
Oh yeah, I'll be at the bar after every event, probably.
Carbing up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I think they have a beer sponsor this year at Wodapalooza.
Yingling.
Are those the winners?
These are the winners. They sent us a photo on Instagram.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're very excited.
Yeah.
It's a mom and two daughters.
Oh, that is so great.
From St. Louis.
Pat, what a great selection. 256. Never forget it.
56. Yeah.
They
Now
said to
next
say
time I pick that number, it'll have meaning.
they said say thank you to Pat, and they're also they're only missing Brian in that picture, so we're excited for that as well.
They're
There
practicing.
you go.
Tomorrow I'll be there.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Barbelljobs.com. Thank you for doing it. That was a last minute gift that Andre over there surprised us with. He didn't have to do that. Super cool. What did your sponsors give you anything cool for this? Like a special pair of Magic underwear or like a new backpack? Yeah. Like good luck, Pat, from
That sweatshirt he's wearing.
from Reebok. Here's an extra 6 pairs of shoes. Or
I got a big I got my suit. Reebok sent me like a carry-on suitcase full of gear for the competition for Christmas.
oh, that's not nice. 256 Pat's back squat. That's not nice at all. Come on, guys.
Kilos.
Oh yes, kilos. I'm sorry, my bad.
There you go.
I
wish.
So Reebok, what?
They sent me a bunch of new gear, a bunch of new, just like shorts and shirts and things to compete in. Which is I always need more pairs of gym shorts, as you know. Never have enough. So
someone should have sent you a Flowbee and some hair gel.
No, man. Just let it rage. Especially when you got like tomorrow we got GHDs and Echo Bike. You want the hair, you don't want it to be like rock solid. You want it to be winging around everywhere.
We will be watching. Thank you. I think this looks like one of our largest live shows. I mean, it can't compete with the one where Dave Castro got fired. But I mean, outside of like something, this is like good stuff. This is the best show. This is the most watchers we've had when it's good shit happening.
Oh, nice. Positive.
Yeah. So that's nice.
Podcast. Good. Well, that's what an honor.
And we will be bugging you throughout the weekend. Thank you. Brian, do you want to say
this was good timing because my wife and kids show up tonight, so it might be a little bit harder to carve out time. But hey, you're welcome to try. Maybe you'll get Owen on.
I feel lucky.
All right, Pat, have a great competition, man.
Before I let you go.
Say that again.
Is there any other burning questions or desires before I let you guys go?
I'm gonna turn the camera. I'm gonna turn off the audience before I tell you my burning desires.